taking a bite of heaven from a local family-owned bakery. Today we get a chance to meet a man who started off with next to nothing and is now sitting on an empire of pastries on today's edition of Person to Person. Hi there, and welcome to yet another edition of Person to Person. Today we're here to meet someone who has helped build a family empire by being one of the owners and nicknamed the Cake Doctor. I'd like to welcome Gary McGrath of Damari Pastry Shop. Hi there, Gary.
How are you?
Good. Now, what made your family decide to open up a bakery shop?
Well, after my mother and father-in-law moved here from Italy, my father-in-law had spent approximately about 13, 14 years in the bakery business. He was a baker in Italy, but in the bakery business here in the Bronx and Yonkers and Portchester, and decided to take a chance and try to branch out on his own and start, hopefully, a business where he could call his own.
It's really interesting. Now, what year did the bakery open, and why Greenwich?
Well, the bakery opened in 1976, and after searching several places in several areas, the Greenwich location came open. It had been a bakery prior to that, and once it opened, once it became available, my father-in-law thought it was pretty good, still close to the Bronx and easy access to get to. It was right off of 95, and figured we'd take a chance on it and see how we can get it to work.
Now, how did you get started in finding your employees?
Well, the bakery business is a kind of close-knit community, so having worked in all these bakeries all these years, it seemed to be, as we first started, that it was just family involved, but as we became busier and busier, more popular, we kind of reached out to our resources in the bakery field and were able to get additional bakers and some sales and counter help.
Now, where did you exactly find out what ingredients you needed in order to run this shop, and who taught you how to bake?
Well, I personally learned how to bake from my father-in-law, and being in the bakery business so long, my father-in-law knew the sales reps and the drivers of the purveyors that he had used when he was working in these other bakeries. So to get the ingredients was the easy part. Teaching myself, my brother-in-law, and the employees we had to bake, that's the task that my father was probably most proud of, and I am too, because we've been open 30 years. I'm still there, so.
Now, how long were you open before you started getting wholesale customers?
About 10 to 12 years. We had started out slow, like I said, just family working, and as we became busier and busier and more popular in the area, we started branching out to small restaurants, getting orders and stuff like that. But it wasn't probably until about 15 years that we actually started doing our big wholesale stuff, like catering halls and hotels and things like that.
Wow. Now, you say that this is a family business. Who exactly from your family actually works there?
Well, my father-in-law is now retired. My mother-in-law still works there. My wife, myself, her sister, and her husband work there. All of my children work there. And my sister-in-law's kids are a little young, but they come in and do a little part-time help too. So, family business it is, because it's just family with a few additional employees, like 30. So,
well, that's great. Now, what made you decide to open up your second location?
Well, we were in Greenwich for 20 years before we decided to open up a second location. The business has gotten really big, and we decided that we needed to branch out, and we were looking for a location, and we ended up buying a building out in the Springdale section of Stamford. The area, for business-wise, was good because we get customers that we didn't have from New Canaan, Westport, Weston, people on that side of the Merritt, where we were kind of blocked in with Greenwich, where we could only get Portchester, Darien, and the people from the Bronx would come up. So we figured in order to expand, we needed to find ourselves another location. But with expanding, you need more employees, and so it was a risk we took. But we've been open at our new location for 10 years now. So being in both locations and being open for 30 years, I think we've done a pretty good job.
Wow. Now, being open this long, how do you feel about your success, and what advice would you give on someone who's willing to open up their own location or start their own business in baking?
Success is not an easy thing to explain, but being successful means hard work. The bakery business is long hours. Family life suffers. You're 4 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, and when it's family, everybody has to do that. So there are sacrifices to be made. Would I suggest it to somebody today? No. Go to college, get an education, do something good, but you need to take a risk, and you need to explore it, because if you don't, then you'll always second guess yourself.
Right. Well, now that Gary has explained the secrets of a family business and the strength that it took for his family to open up their own business, hopefully he has encouraged people to follow their dreams, and if they want something enough for themselves or their family, can happen. It can happen. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for Person to Person. I'd also like to thank you, Gary, for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll all join us next week for another edition of Person to Person. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.